better, don't paint Nana yellow. You don't want her to be a millionaire. No, just paint like everybody else. And same thing in art class, ma'am says, I told you to draw a red bird, Anil, you drew a blue bird, no marks. And the worst one? No, the worst is parents. Teachers are number 2. And who's the third one? Did you see what Atul painted? Peers. So everybody in your life is telling you, no, just be like everybody else. Don't be different. Don't go your own way. Just follow the rules. Don't invent. Don't be different. And now here comes this crazy innovation consultant telling you, you've got to be different to be better. It's not easy. So some of you have had all that inventiveness whipped out. But I think in this room, most of you have an idea to do something new and different. So congratulations. You've broken out of the chains that Mamiji and Papaji tried to put on you, and that Ma'am and Sir tried to put on you, and that all your friends made fun of you. So good for you. Tuck there. All right, so now how are we going to get to invent? Well, this won't be a very long section, and also time is moving quite along. So we'll just talk about 10 ways that you can help. And you know, there's another one that belongs here, thanks to Deepika for mentioning it, called customer journey. So customer journey should be here on this list. But basically, I'll just run through them since we won't have time. We will have time for a couple questions. But okay, the nugget is another word we use for an insight. Like, what did we say? 80% of people don't want to use carpooling because it gives up flexibility. That's a fact. If you simply know that fact, it's easy to start thinking about inventions that address the fact. That's your best one. The more facts you have, the better your ideas will be. You'll have original ideas. Oh gosh, we always thought that everybody wants to be the same time. Leave at work at 8:45, arrive at work at 9:45, start at 10. We always thought they want to leave at 6:10, arrive home at 7:45. Oh no, there's flexibility. We didn't think of that. We were thinking from a technology, put it in the office, put it out of the office, but we forgot they have another life. They want to go pick up the kids, or they want to stop at the groceries, or at the machli mandi, or whatever they want to do, okay? So start with what you know. Start with those facts. The next one, we're used to thinking in what Edward de Bono calls a rut. We always think, what is the saying? To a man with a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So however you're used to solving problems, oh, there's one, nail! Okay, you're seeing nails. Start looking at it at a different way. And one of the ways to do that is just pick a totally random thing. Like, okay, if we were brainstorming for carpooling solutions, think of a carpooling solution that begins with the letter D, like David. What words begin with D? Delhi. What words? What words begin with D? Daily. What words begin with D? Dairy. What words begin with D? Dog. Okay, oh, let's have dog sleds. We can have dog sleds pulling people over to Gurgaon. Crazy idea, huh? Besides, there's no snow. How can we have a dog sled? That's for Alaska. Okay, but you see, that's how you get crazy ideas. Normally, you would be thinking of all the things in a carpool. Okay, a website, an online payment facility. All of a sudden, here's a crazy guy, dog sleds. Have the dogs pull you to Gurgaon in the morning? But that's how you get you get through original ideas. You start thinking randomly, all right? Okay, think of a solution that involves sense of smell. Okay, we could have a pizza oven on the bus that takes people to Gurgaon in the morning. Oh no, okay, you just prefer chole bhatura in the morning. Okay, we can have a chole bhatura fryer on the bus. Okay, smell the chole bhatura, enjoy your commute. You see what I'm saying? Getting you to think in new ways out of your rut. Just throw in a random prompt. That's one of Edward de Bono's. The third one is counterfactuals. This is a word you may not know. It means opposite of what is fact. Something that is not fact. Like, we live in a world where there are two main roads between Delhi and Gurgaon. The expressway and MG Road, right? Okay. What if we lived in a world where there were 10 roads? What would our solution look like? If we can imagine an alternative universe, right? What if we lived in a universe where instead of legs, we all had wheels? See, it's not the true universe, But what would we invent? That might get us back, even though it's a crazy solution, that might get us back to a good one. The next one is called perspective shifting. We know how we would solve the problem. And we haven't been able to solve it, or we have some ideas. You want fresh ideas? How would your grandmother set up a carpooling situation? Change your perspective from your idea. How would your daddy ji do this? How would your nani ji do this? You see what I'm saying? Okay, or, all right, we've discussed how, how Uber would do it. We've discussed how Ola cabs would do it. But here's a question for you. How would SIFI do it? How would DMI do it? How would Microsoft do it? All right, that might get you some new ways of thinking. So change your perspective. Or how would an 8-year-old boy do it? You see, that might just get you a crazy breakthrough idea that your normal way of thinking wouldn't do it. Wishing. This is the only one where it's not about ideas. I wish that when I go down the road, everybody would go to the side and let me pass. Anybody else share that wish? I wish when there was a jam, I could just go over it. Anybody have that wish? Yeah, okay. Funny thing is, what was just invented in China for going over the traffic? A bus where the rollers are on the two sides of the road and everybody rides above the traffic. So it's not so crazy. Making a wish can sometimes lead to a good solution. What's another one? Analogies. Matlab, we call it technology talks. If I tell you about how, oh gosh, what's that interesting analogy for a carpooling business? If I tell you about group buying societies, group purchasing clubs, it's something that happened in the US about 40 years ago. People would get together and they would pool their purchasing ability. And I told you about how that worked. You might get some ideas for how to use similar principles in carpooling. Just look at what's working in other places, even if it doesn't seem related. There's some amazing stories. For instance, I'll tell you a story about a fellow who was a scientist, and his little boy came in after taking a walk in the fields. What was attached to the boy's pants? Nettles, the prickly little parts of the top of some plants. The nettles had come off of the plant where they were on the head, and they had stuck to the boy's clothing as he walked through. Who cares, right? Anybody know why you should care? Okay, because Dad was a scientist. And because he saw an analogy. He said, I wonder why those nettles stick to my son's clothing. I better look into that. And he looked into it under a microscope, and he started to see what was happening. There were all these tiny little hooks built into the nettle. And when it passed the thread, which is made of strings, it would hook under the threads and hook onto the thing. And as one person already knows, that led to a great invention that made a lot of people's lives better. Do you know what it led to? The invention of Velcro. Because that works on the same principle. The little hooks on the top of the Velcro hook into the fabric on the bottom, and it sticks. But just as you can pull a nettle off without damaging anything, you can easily pull apart a Velcro. So he made biomimicry. He made an imitation of what happened in the natural world only because he was willing to see an analogy between a plant and a fabric. Simple, rare, but it can happen. You can get a good idea from another field and put it in your field. Number 7, Doblin's 10 areas of the business. Okay, the Doblin Innovation Consulting Group has given us a great gift by listing 10 areas of a company where you can innovate. What's the most common area where companies try to innovate? That's the one where you've all focused on. What have you focused on inventing in your work? A new product, exactly. Good or bad? Necessary or unnecessary? You don't know. Necessary, good. Out of the 10 areas, which is the area that has the highest failure rate? Product innovation. So yeah, you got to do it. But that's not probably where you'll be different. Everybody will have a product. You'll be different in some way. But some of the best inventions were not about the product. They were about the partnership model. Some of them were about the financing model. Some about the marketing model. So if you want to research, Doblin has 10 areas where you can differentiate yourselves from your competitors. That might get you thinking in new directions. Next, number 8, looking at an idea from 6 different perspectives. Edward de Bono's 6 thinking hats. Somebody has to be the potential. Look at the great potential. Oh, wow, think of how many millions of people would love this. Somebody else has to be the black hat. This is not indicating my philosophy. Says, yeah, but nobody will pay for it. It's too expensive. All the reasons it won't work. Like Sir's question. Why will a carpooling service not work? Somebody else may say, how does it make people feel? They look at the feelings. Somebody else will say, where are the facts? Show me the facts. David said we need facts. We don't have enough facts. That person will all be looking for more information. Another person will just say, let's take the team and let's organize our process so we have a better result. So if you look at it through each of the 6 hats instead of your favorite one, you may be, oh, it's great, it's going to work, it's wonderful, let's do it. You need to have a second perspective of, hey, why might it not work? So that's a technique that'll help. Another one is scamper. And that's just 7 initials that tell you what you can do. You can reorder or rearrange things, like let's say a customer journey. What if we rearrange the journey in which they do things? What if they pay first instead of last? What if they pay last instead of first? You can magnify, you can make something bigger. You can eliminate or make it smaller. You can you can put something to another use, like Skin So Soft. You can use it instead of soft skin softener. You can use it for bug repellent. Okay, so that's a way of thinking. And the last one is a lot of fun, but don't forget customer journey. The last one is called scenario planning. Has anybody ever taken part in a scenario planning exercise? Yes? Okay. What's NCR going to be like in 10 or 15 years? Have you thought about that? What's NCR going to be like in 15 years? What's that? Lots of cement buildings and traffic. Okay. Good guess or bad guess? Okay. Scenario planning is a formal exercise where we start investigating potential futures. Let me tell you about a guy called Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky is one of the greatest stars ever in a sport that you all play a lot in Delhi, right? You all play ice hockey a lot here in Delhi? Oh, you don't? No ice hockey? I wonder why not. Anyway, it's big in Canada. It's a cold place. They play a lot of ice hockey. And it's like, you know field hockey, right? You hit the ball with a stick. In ice hockey, they have a disc because it slides over the ice. It doesn't roll on grass. It slides, and it's called a puck. And instead of running around, you're actually skating on ice skates. So it's kind of dangerous. If you're not good, you fall a lot. And the ice is very hard. It hurts. Anyway. But Gretzky was a great skater, and he was even greater at shooting, and he was even greater at passing the puck to his teammates so they could shoot the goals. Gretzky had a great saying. He said, don't skate to where the puck is. Skate to where the puck is going to be. So we do scenario planning so that our invention will not just meet today's technology of news, today's latest jewelry, today's latest carpooling situation in NCR. We make sure that our invention and our business will be good for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years based on what is possible, what we think is possible or likely in the future. Questions about these? I said this would be brief because I don't have time to teach you them or demonstrate them, but I hope it gave you an idea of how to start getting your thinking out of the rut. Vivekanand. Say again? Yeah, just those are initials for about 7 things you can do. You can rearrange, you can put to another purpose, you know, okay? You can magnify, you can eliminate or minify. Those are, you know, okay? So feel free to research them. They're freely available on the net. We done with this? Still think we can get you out of here by 9:30. All right. And then after we've got our insights, because the value is in the insight, now we've used our creative thinking techniques to get fresh, original ideas. Now it's time to take our ideas and get them ready for the market, because if you just launch, you will fail. So the way we do this is called rapid iterative prototyping. Now, some of you have raised money. If I were going to predict to you that your idea would not work, Your idea will not work. Would you like to spend 2 lakhs to find that out? 2 crores or 20 crores? Would you like to build a rough prototype? Would you like to go to alpha and find out it doesn't work? Or would you like to launch and find out that it doesn't work? Anybody vote for this one? Spend 20 crores? Anybody vote for this one? Anybody vote for this one? You're all staring at me. You don't want to vote. You're tired. I've tired you out. I'm sorry. Okay. If anybody said this one or this one, get out. You don't belong in this room. The idea is to find out cheaply that it doesn't work. But in world-class innovation, we don't spend 2 lakhs. There's that user experience that Deepika talked about. How would you like to find out for 2 rupees that your idea is not going to work? Better, nah? Save the 2 lakhs. Just spend the 2 rupees and find out. That's what we do in the refinement stage. Our goal is to kill bad ideas and to repair broken ideas, to make them perfect as quick and as cheap as possible. You don't build a 20 crore prototype to find out it doesn't work. You build a 2 crore prototype. Excuse me, you don't build a 2 crore, you build a 2 rupee prototype. And the reason is, the job of the prototype is not to demonstrate the full product. The job of the prototype is to get user feedback. Sir has gone to his users' offices and seen that they talk about, or heard that they talk about getting the information quickly, and seen them using information quickly. That is feedback. Now, I don't know what he had to do to get that. I don't know if he already had a product and he was 2 years in or 5 years in and then he got the feedback. For you who are thinking about a startup, try to get that feedback before you build your solution, before you launch. And the way you do that is not by building a full prototype, but by building a low fidelity. Low fidelity. It means it doesn't look like a finished product. It's not faithful to the finished product. So you build as cheap and as quick in any medium. The job is to communicate your idea. Everything starts as an idea. You don't have to build out the solution, you just have to communicate the idea. That's why you make a prototype. So, it's not a facsimile of the actual product. It doesn't even have to resemble it. It can be a simple mock-up, a drawing. It can be, if it's a device, you can make it out of styrofoam or building blocks or children's toys or clay. You can make it out of anything. Yeah, this is a really good one. Okay? Show how it will work step by step. You know the current customer journey. Show what the customer journey would look like using your service in pictures, like a comic book. Draw it frame by frame. This will enable you, show what a sample screen would look like. I mean, nowadays you can build it in soft copy. I used to actually just use PowerPoint. I would just write a PowerPoint because I didn't know HTML. And you may or may not know, programming or markup languages. I would just make a PowerPoint. And then the customer says, oh, there's a latest news button. I get it. Or then they can give you feedback. They can say, yeah, but what would I click if I want to know the stock report? What would I click if I want to know blah, blah, blah? What would I click